Hey, what's up? This is Evan, developer with PageLines store. This is going to be a quick walkthrough video and how-to for my new section, a Doppelgänger bar. And what this is it's a powerful dynamic sidebar section. And what it is it displays any sidebar anywhere in your site in any template area, and it gives you more control over it, like being able to override which sidebar you're displaying on any page, including special pages like the blog page or 404 or some archive page or something like that, as well as creating some if you're moving a sidebar that's normally in your vertical layout area, like the regular sidebar area is, you move it down somewhere to maybe like a footer or something. You have the option to display it as with dynamic widget columns. So what that is it will evenly distribute the widgets, the widget widths in that sidebar based on how many there are, and using also a maximum number of columns that you can define in the options. So, and then if there's more widgets than that, it will actually create rows, and there's a lot of CSS classes and stuff that are added for easy styling and stuff like that, and doing some cool things. So that's kind of the gist of what it does. Now I'm going to kind of just show you how you would get it set up and how you can start doing those things with it in a basic way. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use it to replace my primary sidebar here. So I'm going to go into the drag and drop, and I'm going to go to the sidebar 1, which is what we're seeing right now. And I'm going to take out my primary sidebar, and I'm going to put in the Doppelgänger bar, and I'm going to refresh, and we're going to see just a little notification that nothing's really been set up yet. So it's letting us know that we need to set it up. So if we go ahead and configure it, it's going to take us over to the options page for it, which is under the site options and under Doppelgänger bar. This is probably the first thing you want to do when you get it set up, is just take a look at it, read through a little bit of the explanation of the options, which I've already kind of explained all of them, almost. And I'm going to hide this for now, I guess. But the other cool thing is that with the responsive behavior that PageLines offers, I wanted to kind of create some also, the way the widgets, the widths are, it's also responsive. So if you're changing your the size of your window, or you want it to be working well with mobile and other devices, those columns are responsive. So the other thing is, if you have a lot of columns, you want to be able to control how many are being shown at smaller viewports. So there's options to set that in a global way for all of them at the bottom here at this page. So I'm going to hide this. I'm going to choose the primary sidebar. Clone mode has to do with the ID and classes of sidebar. So if you already have some styles that are being applied to your existing sidebar, or some widgets inside that you want to maintain, but you want to enhance it by using the Doppelgänger bar, you can turn clone mode on. It's going to use the same ID and classes as the sidebar you're replacing. This only works with the core PageLines sidebars right now, but nothing's going to break if you don't use it. You may just have to redefine some of your style classes or something if you have something like that going on. But if not, you can basically just ignore it. The dynamic widget columns is kind of what I was talking about, and this only works in areas other than sidebar 1 and sidebar 2, which are fairly strictly vertical layout areas. Everything else though is fair game. So I'm going to leave that off for now because we're just replacing the primary sidebar, and the maximum widget columns default is 6, but you can go up to 12 just like you can with the responsive bootstrap grid, which is now part of the PageLines framework. Cool stuff. Okay, so I'm going to just save this, and when we refresh the page, we're going to see this go away. It's going to basically go back to exactly what we saw before, which was the regular primary sidebar. So Cool. Well, now what can we do? We can go edit this page, or let's edit, let's say this sample page. Who cares about the sample page? Well, it has a bunch of stuff on it that's not going to work, so I'm going to just go back to another page because I had some test stuff on it. It's going to look not good. So I'm just going to go back to the front page, and I'm going to go to this tab here for the Doppelgänger bar, and I'm going to say we're going to mimic a different sidebar. We are going to mimic the secondary sidebar. And I'm going to save these meta settings. Okay, cool, saved. Now if I reload this page, it's going to show a different sidebar there. Hey, cool, really cool. But if I go to another page, like the blog page, whatever, it's displaying normally. It's displaying the normal page that we have there. So the override only affects the one page that you want to change, which is cool. That's what we want. So now I'm actually just going to go ahead and put it back. Just going to go back to, if you put it to select, it's just like you didn't select anything. So we're back to square one now. We're going to put in some cloned instances of the Doppelgänger bar. This is something that a lot of sections can do, but it's not something that I think is intended to be used as much as it can be used or is designed to use as Doppelgänger bar. So because you can replace all of your sidebars with Doppelgänger bar if you want to. You just have to clone it enough times, and you won't never run out of options, because the number of options you have here is based on the number of sidebars you have registered. So there's one set of options for each sidebar. But you don't have to use all of them, you only have to use as many as you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sidebar to, let's see, do something silly, just put one in the header just because we can. I'm going to go here, and you'll see that in order to get the actual clone to show up, we need to drag the first one in, and then hit clone, and then drag it back out. Because until you see the number 2, it's not actually cloned. And then I'm going to go down into the more foot, doesn't have anything, and go through the same process. So clone, and then it pops up number 3, put this back. It's just something you have to do with the way PageLines is now. Maybe something about that will change, but just know that, unless you're seeing the number there, you're not really seeing it cloned, and you can actually have multiple instances, probably just of the first one, in different template areas, and you may feel like it's broken when it's not. It's just you needed to clone it so that it's unique instance. So now I have one in the header and one in the more foot area, but I don't have any options set up for those, and we don't need to see that notification again. So I'm just going to choose for number 2, I'm going to put tertiary, and I'm going to turn on the dynamic widget columns so we can see that. And then for number 3, I'm going to put the secondary sidebar, and it's not going to do anything, but I'll just put that on the clone mode. And I'm just going to keep that as default also for now, which is 6, and I'm going to save the options, and then I'm just going to refresh the page so that the guide gets hidden. It's taking up quite a bit of room there. You can always hide it at the top. So refreshing the page. Hope this isn't taking too long. We have this is actually the tertiary sidebar here, which is being displayed across the header. Since it's in the header, it's a global template area, just like the Morefoot. We're going to see it on the blog page, just like we see this one down here in the Morefoot area. This one has six widgets inside, so it has 6. If we want to see what happens, we can see what happens when there's less than 6. This one doesn't have a maximum column setting selected, and it's showing them evenly distributed as 4 columns. So when you have less than the maximum, it just distributes them evenly. you have more than the maximum, it breaks them into rows, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm going to show that actually with I'm going to show the rows with this one because it has 6, and it's easy to break it up. So I'm going to go over here into the options again, and for the maximum widget columns, I'm going to choose 3. So we have 3 and 3. And we go back over here, refresh. What happened? Oh, I think I did it for the primary. Well, the primary is not doesn't have widget columns turned on, and it even if it was turned on, it's not going to do anything because it's not programmed that way. So because it's in a vertical template area. So what I'm going to do is go to this one, which has the text, and I'm going to change it to 3 columns. Saving. And I'm actually going to go here and just say, you know what, that one on the top on this page, I just don't want it to show up there, and it's number 2, so if we go into page setup, I can hide this one in the header just on this page using the built-in section control, which is another cool thing. So that's this kind of built-in thing, nothing really new about that, but it's always cool to do, make use of that dynamic stuff. So now we have this in 3 columns and 2 rows. If we were to take out any one of these, it would still be the same widths because it's defined by the maximum. The width, column width is defined by the maximum columns. It's not done on a per row basis. So that's that. And the other thing is, you know, as things get smaller here, we want to have more control over it. This is the primary sidebar here, and this is what happens when we get smaller. Things are it's responsive. It's still 3 columns, and it's still 3 columns, and it's still going to be 3 columns until you get down to 320 pixels or below. 320 is the width of the iPhone portrait viewport. So you're going to see just a single column there, so things don't get too squished. The columns at 320 and below, the columns just become single column. But what I did offer is, you know, at the bottom of this Doppelgänger bar tab here, the options, if you go down to the bottom, you can set a maximum number of columns for different sizes. So we can go to like the portrait tablet, we can say we want 4 columns, and then when we get down smaller, we want to go down to just 2 columns, and this one's fine, we can just leave that, you know, the same, and nothing's changing there, you don't set anything. And so yeah, let's go ahead and save it. And actually, you know, I'm going to just make one more quick change just to put it back to 6 so we can see how things change in a responsive way. So, refresh. We're going to see those same 6 columns again across the bottom. Now if we, whoops, okay, that was crazy. Alright, so if I go down, it's going to break to 4. You'll see that at the same time that the sidebar jumps down. So we have 4 columns now, and it's wrapping. They're not like true columns, like the real, like the footer columns or whatever sidebar you have. It has individual sidebars for each column, and in my experience, you're rarely putting more than 1 widget in each column, so it just kind of seems silly to use, you know, separate sidebars for it. At least in those cases where it just has 1 each. So if that's the case, then Doppelgänger bar is a, you know, really good replacement. So, and then down at the smaller, it's going to get down to 2. So, yeah. So from 6 down to 4 to 2, and then eventually down to 1 at the smaller widths. So that is that. Like I said, there are, I just want to go over this really quickly because it's already been a few minutes now. There's a lot of classes. I need to actually break this into rows to show all of them. But if I go to 3 here, there's a lot of classes for added styling or whatever you want to do, targeting things with your widgets inside Doppelgänger bar. There's a lot of classes that are added for making that really easy, whether you want to target something in a particular row or a particular widget. This section itself has clone mode on here, so it's using the secondary sidebar ID, it's using the secondary sidebar section class, and it has a few of its others, just saying that it's in a horizontal area that has widget columns turned on. It has a widget count of 6, and it has a maximum column number of 3. And then for the widgets themselves, they have a lot of classes for identifying which number widget it is in the whole sidebar. That can tell you if it's a member of a row, if that row is the first row or the last row, or what number row it is, if it's an even row or an odd row, and basically all the same things for if it's a first widget in a row, if it's the last widget in a row, if it's an odd widget in a row, or even widget in a row, or 1, 2, 3 in a row. You can see all of those are there. If you just inspect it, you'll just see there's a lot of classes, and it'll be confusing for me probably to try and explain it more than I already have. And I don't want this video to go too long, so I think that pretty much shows all the options and everything that can be done with it in its current state. Any questions or concerns, before picking up the Doppelgänger bar, definitely let me know, or feel free to ask it in the comments on the product page on the PageLines store for it. That's what those are for. And yeah, any constructive criticism or anything, I'm always open to it, and I want to make my products as helpful for everyone as possible. And just generally, some of it solves a problem for you guys, so, or makes things better in a way you didn't know was possible. So that's it for the Doppelgänger bar. I have some other sections on the store, or not other sections just yet, but I have a few other plugins like PageLines for individual page styling, custom CSS and less for any page or post, custom pages too. And there's also another one called Coglow, which adds some cool syntax highlight themes and a syntax highlighting editor for individual posts. Pretty cool stuff. That has its own demo video and stuff, so go check that stuff out if you haven't already. We got some more new stuff coming out that I'm really excited about as well, and even more plans for the future. So check it out. Thanks for watching the video, and let me guys know what you think of this section. Thanks.